It was a cold New York morning. People hurried along their way, but no one paid attention to the elderly woman sitting at the corner of the sidewalk. Her old coat couldn't protect her from the sharp wind. At that moment, a large convoy stopped, right in front of her. Men in suits stepped out of the cars, and the crowd suddenly paused. Everyone waited in anticipation as the door of a black limousine opened. The person who stepped out was none other than one of the most powerful men in America, Donald Trump. The surroundings came alive. People excitedly pulled out their phones, taking photos and videos. But the elderly woman, unaware of the commotion, kept her head lowered. As Trump walked through the crowd, feeling the attention on him, the woman slowly raised her head and, with a trembling voice, whispered, "Sir, could you spare me just $1?" The crowd immediately fell silent. The security officers looked at her carefully, while Trump paused. Then, he bent down slightly and looked into her eyes. "$1? Why do you only need $1, ma'am?" he asked curiously. The woman shyly lowered her head. "I just want to buy some coffee, sir." Trump thought for a moment, and then he decided to do something entirely different. "No," he said with a smile. "This morning, we'll have coffee together." Amid astonished gazes, he extended his hand to the woman and invited her into his convoy. A few minutes later, the two of them were sitting in a luxurious cafe, sipping their hot coffee. The woman realized that no one had ever listened to her this attentively in years. As she shared her story, her eyes welled up. "I used to be a teacher, but I lost my husband and home in an unfortunate accident. Since then, I lost everything and started living on the streets." After listening to her carefully, Trump gently asked, "May I know your name?" The woman swallowed before answering. "Emily, sir." Trump nodded, smiling. "Emily, you don't need to ask for money from people. What you truly need is a fresh start." After hearing Emily's story, Trump took a deep breath. There was a determined look in his eyes. "Emily, today, we won't just have coffee. We'll take the first step towards getting your life back." Emily looked at him in disbelief. "But, sir, I can't do anything anymore. I'm old. I'm all alone. Who would hire me?" Trump smiled. "You're not old, Emily. You're experienced. You were once a teacher, and that's still in you." For the first time in years, Emily felt a spark of hope inside her. Trump pulled out his phone and made a few quick calls. Emily tried to make sense of his conversations, but all she could hear were phrases like, "Yes, today. Yes, trustworthy. A good person." A few minutes later, Trump looked up. "Emily, I've arranged a room for you. You'll stay in a nice hotel. But more importantly, I've found a place where you can use your skills." Emily held her breath. "What do you mean?" "You're going back to teaching, Emily." Emily's eyes grew wide. "But I haven't been in a classroom for years. The students, would they accept me?" Trump placed his hand on hers. "They need you, Emily, just as you need to hold on to life again." Tears filled Emily's eyes. No one had ever wanted to help her like this, and now, one of the most powerful men in America was giving her a chance at a new life. The next day, Emily went to the special center Trump had arranged for her. It was a social project for underprivileged children's education. At first, when she entered the classroom, she felt timid. But when she saw the hope in the students' eyes, the old Emily within her was reignited. When she taught her first lesson, everyone was mesmerized. She might have lived on the streets for years, but her love for teaching was still alive. After the class, Trump was waiting by the door. "What did I tell you? Your students love you." Emily wiped away her tears and smiled. "Mr. Trump, if you had only given me $1 to buy coffee, my life would have never changed. But you gave me not money, but a new life." Trump murmured quietly, "Sometimes it's not $1, but an opportunity that needs to be given." As Emily tried to adjust to her new life, she felt stronger every day. From the lonely, hopeless woman on the streets, She had transformed into a teacher who inspired her students. However, the scars of her past still left deep marks on her soul. One evening, after finishing her classes, Emily went to Donald Tower at Trump's invitation. Sitting at a large table, Trump smiled at her and asked, "Emily, what's next?" "You're a teacher again. But this story shouldn't end here." Emily thought for a moment and sighed as she spoke. "While I was living on the streets, I met many people, Mr. Trump. They're waiting for a chance like I was. But most of them aren't even noticed. I know that if we could help them the way you helped me, their lives could change completely." Trump nodded and set aside the papers on the table, turning to Emily. "That's a wonderful idea, Emily. If you truly want to help these people, we need to do it on a large scale. What do you think? Should we start a foundation together?" Emily's eyes sparkled. "Really? I mean, a training center for the homeless?" Trump smiled. "Yes. We don't just need to provide food and shelter. We need to offer them education, job opportunities, and a chance at a new beginning. You should be at the head of this because no one knows how these people feel better than you." Tears streamed down Emily's face. Years ago, she thought she was doomed to live on the streets after losing everything. But now, she realized she could turn her past into an advantage. The pain she had lived through could become a tool to give hope to others. Trump and Emily decided to start a foundation called A New Beginning. Initially, they planned to reach out to the homeless people in the areas where Emily had once lived, speaking with them personally. Emily knew some of them, and some of their stories were even more tragic than hers. The first stop was to visit Henry, an old carpenter who had been living on the streets for years. Henry, although still skilled, had lost his job due to financial troubles. When Emily told him that Trump would support him in starting a new carpentry workshop, the man couldn't believe his ears. "For all these years, no one has given me a second chance," Henry said, his voice trembling. "But if you truly give me this opportunity, I will dedicate everything to this." Together, Emily and Trump set up a qualified carpentry workshop for Henry. It not only provided him with a new livelihood, but also offered job opportunities to other homeless individuals in the Foundation's training program. Henry, once lost, was now standing tall again. As the Foundation grew, it made a significant impact in the media. Emily and Trump appeared on television programs, sharing their project. Their story caught the attention of people around the world. Many business people and philanthropists began donating to the Foundation. One day, Emily received a message from someone she didn't recognize. It was from one of her former students, George, who had watched her story on TV. "Ms. Emily, just like you believed in me years ago, now you're giving hope to others. I'd love to see you again." Emily couldn't hold back her tears. The life she had lost years ago was now returning to her in a whole new way. After months of hard work, the Foundation's Education Center was opened with a grand ceremony. Thousands of people attended the event. In his opening speech, Trump talked about Emily's determination and her story of rebirth, emphasizing how much of an inspiration she had become. Emily stepped up to the microphone, her eyes brimming with tears as she began to speak. "Once, I lived on the streets, unnoticed by anyone. But that person didn't give me just $1. They gave me an opportunity. Now, it's my turn. We're embarking on a journey to change the lives of everyone here. Because sometimes, all you need in life is a chance." As Emily held the microphone with tears in her eyes, she looked at the crowd and continued, "Here, there are people who don't know each other, but they hold on to life just like me. We were all once lost inside ourselves, but I want to remind you that sometimes life changes with a single opportunity. And that opportunity can be a smile, $1, or just someone believing in you." Trump smiled at her from the chair beside her as applause rose from the audience. Emily, taking a deep breath, looked at the audience. "This isn't just my story," she said. "It could be your story too. Don't forget that you have a chance to start a change, because we all have the opportunity for a fresh start. At that moment, a voice rang out from the audience. One person shouted, "We believe in you, Emily!" Others followed suit, voicing their belief in her. This created a magical atmosphere in the room. Emily smiled and nodded. "We're all going on this journey together. This change began with a small step, and you've all become part of that change. Now I ask you, when you see the chance to change someone's life, will you have the courage to seize it?" The sparks of hope in everyone's hearts began to rise. Emily, with the light in her eyes, added, "Changing someone's life might just be the most valuable thing in this world." Though the story ends here, Emily's journey of transformation continues. This serves as a reminder for all of us about the changes we can make in our own lives. What about you? When you see an opportunity to change someone's life, will you gather the courage to seize it? Share your thoughts below and take the first step towards change in your life. Inspired by Emily's story.